Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next session of From Nothing, Lorna's story. Now we're picking up where we left off as you are getting ready to leave Augur City with Tier to head back toward Ferrum. And as you begin that journey, you're going to need to roll me some encounter dice here.
Great. This is gonna go perfectly with no problems.
Now, as you head out of Augur City, leaving through the main gate and following the road out, you are sticking to the road if you follow Tier's advice. No longer needing to hide who you're with by going through the forest, the road is generally considered faster and safer travel. So, go ahead and roll me a d8.
Gotcha. 3.
Your first day on the road passes by without incident.
Yes.
You move quickly away from the capital of Aurelia. The road traffic is fairly dense at this first leg of the journey. Basically, throughout the entire day, you and Tier, as you're walking, left and right, there are people going in and out of Augur City, whether they be above horseback, within carriages, or also walking. And there are situations where you find yourself moving amongst the same people for hours at a time. Sometimes that they suddenly would stop to maybe go into the forest to hunt, or they would continue on changing pace just to keep different company. While that's happening, I'd like you to roll me a perception check.
Gotcha. Eh. 14.
With a 14, you don't notice anything in particular interesting about the people that are traveling around you. They change just as varied as they do in the crowds within Augur City itself. As you're making your way along the road and you stop to camp for the night, it's hard to take watches with just two.
True.
Tier
We have
looks...
Requiem.
That's true, you do. But there is going to be a 2-hour period where there is... Well, I suppose you could ask Requiem to watch for 4 hours. He doesn't really need to sleep. But his perception skills are not the best.
No, he is not a honed tracker like Tier is.
No. I'd like to know... Well, Tier would like to know, really. If you're going to take first watch or if he is.
I think she would take second watch.
All right, allow me a moment while I roll Tier's perception, and then a D100 for him. Okay. One moment here. All right.
All right.
I rolled a 1 on the D100.
Oh,
So
right.
it is as stale as possible. Absolutely nothing happens.
Oh, okay. I thought a Tarask.
No. It is your watch. Go ahead and roll me perception.
Okay. There is something I'd like to do on my watch, but I'll roll a perception first. Again, another 14.
Okay. Now, whatever it is you'd like to do, first roll me a D100.
Gotcha. The opposite.
Okay, what is it you'd like to do on your watch?
She would like to, now that she's not drunk, she would like to take Atlantis's journal and comb through it for the mentions of that contract or mentions of whatever the Nightingale is. She doesn't think she'll find it in the book, but maybe she alluded to it.
Go ahead and roll me an investigation.
Okay. I'm rolling. I think I've rolled 3 9s in a row. What is that?
You're looking specifically for the word nightingale, whether it be in a sentence or mentioned. As you were searching through the book, it's tedious. There's a lot here in the book. A lot of it is very dense. Even with your studies in magic, there are mentions of magic much more powerful than you even grasp.
Mm-hmm.
Spell formulations and calculations that just doesn't mean anything to you yet. With a 16, you do not find a mention of nightingale.
Gotcha.
But that doesn't mean it's not there. It means if it was there,
It's
you
just
missed
beyond
it.
my grasp, right? Did I see anything about a contract? Or is that a separate role?
That's going to be a separate roll.
Gotcha. I've said that a lot.
Go ahead and roll investigation again.
If I roll a 9 again, I'm going to assume that D&D Beyond is broken. No. Well, I did roll a 9, but...
Yes, you did, but not directly.
Uh-huh.
There is no mention that you can find of any contracts.
Mm-hmm. She'll just toss the book back into her bag with a sigh of frustration and go back to actually watching as opposed to kind of pseudo-watching.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. One
If I
moment,
rolled
please.
a 100 on the D100, I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
Didn't that get me a... what was it? A Leviathan?
No. It got you something, but you can't make connections to different encounters here. All right. I need you to roll me another D100, please.
Okay. 47.
Do you think Tier would have set up a fire? Would you have wanted a fire?
I think so. She's a human, so
Yeah.
night-based sight is not her forte. Well, she's not a human. She's a half-elf. Never mind, she can see in the dark. But she still would have liked a fire.
Okay.
She's a human. What?
You've rolled an interesting event.
Great. Could always just budget and go for the non-interesting event.
No, that's
Okay.
not how it works.
All right. Curse your DM integrity.
Mm-hmm. Allow me a moment here.
Mm-hmm. Drafting up my will as we speak.
I mean... Alright, so you rolled a 14 on perception.
I sure did.
Alright. Alright. As you and Tier are...
Tier's asleep.
Well, Tier is asleep, yes. As you sit there by the fire, it is dark, it is quiet, and you have just put the book back into your bag.
Mm-hmm.
You are disappointed in that your search was not very fruitful. When you see across from you, highlighted by the light cast from the fire.
Hmm?
A bush shifts oddly.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
I kick Tier awake. Just like right in the chest,
Okay.
where he's laying next to me.
As you kick Tier, he... Hey! What?
There's a bush. It moved.
Oh. And as he kind of sits up and looks... Which one?
I point to it.
He rubs
It's either a
his
squirrel or
eyes.
it's gonna kill us.
He rubs his eyes. Makes a perception check. Kind of squints at it, and he says, "That's the bush, all right."
There's something in the bush, Tier.
All right. Hold on. And he like rubs his face.
Poor guy.
Hold on. Okay. So, as Tier is kind of getting up, he reaches over to pick up just his belt with his weapons on it. And as he reaches for it, a crossbow bolt into the dirt right next to him. And he... Hey!
I told you.
He looks up to see where that came from. And it having revealed itself, as you look over, you see darting from the bush that you saw move, a dark figure with a hood darts behind another tree.
Are they medium-sized? Are they
Medium.
small?
Medium
Okay.
sized.
Oh, great. I'm gonna stand up.
All right. They
And-
do have one more on their surprise
great.
round.
All right.
Okay. For these, I rolled a 3 and a 4.
Yay. Yay for me.
As you stand up, you feel the rush of air as a bolt right by your cheek.
Uh-huh.
And as that happens, their surprise round has failed. These ambushers reveal themselves. Roll me initiative.
Gary? Okay.
$12.
Yeah, that's speedy. Okay. Mr. 23.
Yeah. Seeing where the attackers are, Tier reaches down, finishes picking up his belt, and as he throws it around him, he glances over at you and he says, "Find cover!" And he pulls his longbow out of his bag. And as he's moving, he whips an arrow toward one of the targets. The target is in half cover, but he's going to do his best. With the half cover, I'm afraid Tier does not hit.
Oh boy.
An arrow, you watch as a bit of bark from the tree breaks off from the arrow glancing off of it. And you hear Tier just say, "Shite." And he will dive toward this tree. This ambusher, having revealed itself, seeing that you are alone, surges out of the bush
Dear, why?
and is going to run up to you and attack you.
Okay.
As it is closing, in the firelight you see it is a dark elf, a drow. It is wearing dark leathers all over what looks like traveling clothes. Looks like maybe a little gaunt, a little emaciated.
Mm-hmm.
But as it surges up towards you, Does a 14 hit?
Yeah.
Okay. You take 4 points of piercing damage.
With what kind of weapon?
It's a short sword.
And where? Lorna's not used to getting stabbed, so they're notable.
It's just in the shoulder, just below the actual arm, like right on the chest there.
Okay, can I actually... Can I use my Lorna's Burning Blood as
This
my
is a
reaction?
situation where you can do that.
Yes. Okay, so it is a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
They're probably pretty quick.
He rolled a 13.
That fails. Whole 3d6. I rolled pretty good.
12.
Right, so she, like, where she gets stabbed in the shoulder, she places her hand over that wound and then flicks her arm out and sprays them with blood that sparks and burns and sizzles.
Okay. As the blood burns and flares out, as almost as though you're throwing lit gasoline at this drow, the flame illuminates their face, and you see what was a look of just grim determination has turned into surprise and pain, as that was a lot of damage to suddenly receive out of the blue from what he thought was a simple target. Suddenly grievously injured, he's going to use his bonus action to disengage.
Yeah, bitch, run.
And he does. He runs back into the brush.
I'm feeling spicy.
It's now your turn.
How? Hey, what the fuck? Can we just talk about this? And she's going to retreat around about where Tierra went to duck behind a tree to get half cover.
Okay.
And she's going to ready an attack if one of them acts hostilely toward her.
Okay.
So she basically, please, can we talk about this?
Roll a persuasion to disadvantage.
No, okay. Pretty good.
Okay. It is quiet. You don't hear a response. There is a long pause. Roll me perception.
Okay. Not bad.
You can hear hushed whispers. They're rushed, and you can't quite understand exactly what they're saying, but you do hear the sounds of communication. Okay. Suddenly, from a different bush, you see a crossbow bolt out from it and slam into Tier's chest.
God, fucker.
Ah, that was thunder. And Tier is going to take.
Yeah, that's where it kicked him.
Yeah. Tier takes 5 points of piercing damage. However, Tier needs to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh my god.
DC is 13. Tier rolled a 2. Tier falls unconscious.
Oh no.
Roll me a medicine check.
Okay. Not great. 8.
8.
Ugh.
Tier is on the ground. You don't know if he's.
Oh my god. Oh fuck.
It's now Tier's turn. Nothing happens.
Okay.
It's now the Drow's turn. He's
Okay.
going to make a crossbow bolt attack at you. That's an 11. Does that hit?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
I'm gonna shield. Shield.
Oh, you shield. All right. It doesn't hit.
Wong.
As the crossbow bolt bounces off, it's now your turn.
Okay. Do I see either of them?
The firelight is making this possible. Yes, you see them.
And one of them just fired.
Yes, this is the one that just pinged is the one that you hurt, who just fired. This one is the one who fired on Tyr.
Okay, well, Lauren's gonna say, you could have gotten out of this with your lives, but fuck you guys. And she's gonna step forward, and she's going to cast... Bite on the one that just fired at her.
What do you call?
I said frostbite.
Okay.
Con 15.
That's an 8.
Yes. 1d6. Of course.
Well, good news. He had 1 hit point.
Yes!
He falls unconscious.
Oh, fuck it. Okay, and she's gonna run and I guess stand in front of Tier and look out for that other one.
Okay. That other one is going to fire on you.
Uh-huh.
It's a 23 to hit. He rolled
My
a natural
AC
19.
10. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I need a con save from you. You do take 3 points of piercing damage.
Oh, no.
DC is 13 on this con save.
Can I silvery barbs instead?
Yeah. I'll reroll.
Christmas.
It's a 22 to hit now.
Okay, well I have advantage on at least the con save, so...
Can you grant it to yourself?
I think so. Choose a different creature you can see within range.
Oh, you can choose yourself.
Yes,
okay,
yes,
go ahead.
Thank fuck. Okay, so do I still take that 3 damage? You're not going to re-roll it?
You want me to? That was minimum.
No, I don't want you to. I was just wondering if that... Okay.
No, I'm not going to re-roll damage.
Con save at advantage at least.
Mm-hmm.
15?
The DC was 13. You do not fall unconscious.
Can you please just fuck off? Your friend's dead! And I'm guessing it's my turn?
It is Tier's turn. Nothing happens.
No, yeah, okay.
Hold on.
Tier dies. I'm gonna be so upset at go.
It's now your turn.
Oh god. Okay. Do I have a health potion? No!
That's on you.
Yeah, no, why would I? Why the fuck would I have something so fucking useful? No, okay, cool. I'm gonna chill touch. This bitch, right here. Go away! Please stop! 15.
Yeah, 15 hits.
Cool. God, really? God fucking shit. Cock. 2 points of damage.
2 points of damage. Okay.
Oh shit, where's Requiem?
Where is Requiem?
I don't know.
He's around your belt.
Yeah, okay. Would he help me? Because he can bite
You have
things.
to invoke this. I can't.
I forgot that he exists because I'm in fear.
Okay.
Okay, after that she would be like, Requiem, please help me.
Okay.
Ghost
Requiem
attack.
emerges. I'm gonna roll initiative for Requiem.
He rolled really bad, but he's
did.
next.
He's after the drow.
Oh.
The drow is going to fire. He's trying to put you to sleep.
He needs to fuck off.
It's a 12 to hit.
That hits.
I need you to make a con save.
Okay. What's my ouch damage?
Oof.
Oof.
Yeah, you take 8 points of piercing damage.
Oh my god. I have 1 hit point.
Uh-huh.
Are you gonna kill me? Oh, a con save, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Requiem, please save me. Oh no! I rolled an 11.
You fall asleep.
Mm-hmm. Requiem, please save me.
Okay.
Damn it, Tierra, this would have been great if you hadn't fallen asleep.
As you fall asleep, I move the map.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to roll out what happens here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The sleep you endure is troubled. It's not the sort of sleep one enjoys having. It's restless, black. It feels more as though you are smothered by black velvet than you are actually unconscious. You can almost feel as though you're about to have a nightmare, but they never quite come. You don't know how long you are out for. There is a sense of being moved. You feel your hair being touched. And then you hear, Lorna?
Oh, thank God.
Lorna, I cannot stir you. You must wake up. Roll me another con save.
Okay. Oh, it's a 12.
Still a failure.
Oh no! I thought the 12 was the DC.
DC
It was 13. God damn it.
You are asleep for the entire hour. When you finally awaken,
Mm-hmm.
you are looking at Requiem. He is standing over you. You see there is no sign of injury on him. There's no blood on him. But you look over where one of the assailants were, and his throat is torn out.
Oh, good boy. What happened?
You were poisoned,
Yeah.
as was Thier. And you look over, and Thier is... His eyes are open, and he's breathing, and it looks alarmed. And he's kind of glances over at you, and he says, "What happened to us?"
We fell asleep. But Requiem saved us. Oh my God, good boy. And she's just gonna ruffle his face. She really can't.
You try, and you feel it.
I love
And you
so
kind of
much,
get...
Requiem.
You get a wave of emotion of pleasure, of pride, of gladness to have been able to help. And the Requiem's ears stand straight up in hound form. And he says,
Boy.
"I am glad I could aid."
Yeah, we would have been so fucked without you. Probably dead. Speaking of, I have 2 crossbow bolts in me and a stab wound, and I'm at 1 hit point.
You need to recover.
How are you looking, Tier?
You see Thier has a crossbow bolt in his chest, and he says, "Oh, I've been better, but I don't look as bad as you do."
Yeah, yeah, after you dropped, I got one of them, but the other one, fucker.
They are tipped with some sort of sleep poison or something. They likely wanted to... Well, they were likely slavers of some kind.
Oh, fuck. Well, at least you know he wouldn't have died. Maybe.
No guarantee. Oh, and he's like nursing at the injury, and you see him slowly, carefully try and pull the crossbow bolt out, and he's just oh, ow, fuck.
I don't really know if I want you to do that to me.
It's the only way, darling.
What?
You want to be unconscious first?
How would you do that?
Wait for you to fall asleep?
Also, wouldn't you wake me up when you ripped the crossbow bolt out of my chest?
Oh, aye, but then you wouldn't know it was coming, so it might hurt less.
Just do it now. I'm gonna hold Requiem's paw.
Okay. He pulls the crossbow bolts out. They're not in deep. Basically just enough for the poison to be delivered to your system. And as he pulls them out, it hurts, but you do not take any additional damage.
Thank God, because that would put me down.
You have survived a dangerous encounter.
Holy God, Mother Croceus. I'm gonna pull myself to my feet and hobble over to loot these fuckers, because we might as well get their shit.
Okay. They are both drow. Roll me a history check.
I didn't know drow were assholes.
That's why you're rolling me a history check.
Ooh. 16.
For the most part, drow are not assholes. You've never known drow to be slavers. You know drow to be polite and long-lived, very accustomed and sociable people. Maybe these are just bandits. As you search them, go ahead and roll me investigation.
Ugh, terrible. I am on 1 hit point, though.
Sure. A 12.
Yeah.
You find a short sword, you find a hand crossbow, you find a quiver of 20 bolts, minus the ones fired at you. So on the left one you find about 15 bolts, and on the right one you find about 13. It looks as though you are not the first that they've attacked.
Here, use a crossbow?
Tyr looks over at you and he says, I can, but it's not as good as my bow.
It's not worth anything to me.
Well, might be worth the money. Catch a few gold for those.
Sure. Yeah, okay, I guess. So 2 crossbows, 18 bolts.
Aye.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah. On one of them, you find a small amulet.
Okay.
The amulet
How's it look
bears a symbol on it. It has the shape of a circle with 5 4-pointed stars spread around it.
Do I recognize the symbol?
Roll me a religion check.
Okay. I would also show it to Tier if, you know.
Yeah, I'll have him roll one as well.
I'm rolling balls and ass today.
He also rolled poorly. You do not know what the symbol is.
Requiem. Do you know what this is? Besides a potential chew toy?
I will roll a history for Requiem.
Good, smart boy.
He rolled an 18.
Yeah.
He looks at the symbol and he looks up at you, and you hear, that is the symbol of Enosa.
Enosa?
The tyrant goddess.
Oh, yeah, that tracks. Well, she sucks and so do they. I'm gonna huck it into the fire.
Okay. Roll me a wisdom save.
Oh boy. Why do I piss off everything? Not great. 12.
All right. You throw an amulet. You throw a holy symbol of Enosa, the tyrant goddess, into the fire.
Why do I feel like I've made a mistake?
You feel cold, as if someone just slid ice cold fingers along your spine. And as you look into the fire where the amulet is burning, for just the split instant, the form the amulet takes looks like a shape, like one you recognize, like a familiar form. And as you look at it, you find it impossible to look away, and as fear begins to claw up your chest, you recognize yourself.
Yeah.
You recognize yourself on your knees with your hands bound behind you, tied to a pole wrought with spikes.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
I call Requiem to me.
He kind of bounds, but soundlessly appears next to you, and when you look over at him, you see the same pure white eyes on unperceivable darkness looking at you. And when you look back at the fire, that image is gone, and all you see is the amulet melting.
Fuck.
What is it, Lorna?
I was gonna ask if you saw it too, but it's gone now.
You do notice the cold feeling has not gone away.
Oh, God. Fuck. Hey, buddy. She's gonna kneel down and look at him in the eyes and say, "Do you see anything different about me? Anything more fucked up than usual?"
He does not move or waver, and as he looks at you, he just says, No, Lorna. Aside from your injuries, you appear normal.
Okay. I guess I saw something in the fire now. I just feel a little sick, I guess.
You are safe with me.
I know. I know that. Now more than ever. She's gonna glance at the corpse that he ripped the throat out of.
Yep.
Give it an appreciative pat. She's gonna give one last look to the fire.
You
And
feel the uncomfortable feeling of looking across a room and someone looking back.
there isn't anything there.
There is nothing there.
I hate this fucking woods. Tier?
You see Tier is currently bandaging up his shoulder, and he looks over and says, Oh,
Any healing you can spare me, please?
I don't have any potions on me, but I can give you a poultice, the sort of thing that might help.
Anything is better than nothing.
Tier waves you over. He looks at where your injuries are, and he says, No need to get indecent. Just stay still. This might hurt. And you see he does pull your dress down enough to get to the injury.
Yeah.
He's very professional about it.
He has like a sleeveless halter type deal underneath
Okay.
the looser top, so he should have easier access that way.
He uses his healer's kit and performs a medicine check on you. It is just a healer's kit. Let me see what you gain. You heal 3 hit points.
That's something. Fuck,
You-
thank you, Tyr.
It's best I can do without any actual magic.
Whose dipshit idea was it to head back out into the woods by ourselves without any healing potion?
That will be ours.
Yeah, we're fucking stupid. I flush too. I could have easily afforded at least one. Fuck.
Well, we'll remember that in the future, won't we?
Yeah, well, these are scars now, so yes, it'll be hard to forget. And I
Everyone
used to
could
be
do
flawless.
Everyone could do with a few scars.
Right.
They mean lessons learned, don't they? Like bring healing potions.
Mm-hmm.
And as that happens, Tyr looks over at Requiem and he says, "See, your friend there just saved us, did he?
Sure did.
That's another
He's a good
lesson
boy.
for you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe ask for his help from the start, eh?"
I didn't even. I mean, I was so busy watching you drop like a sack of useless potatoes. It just didn't cross my mind.
Was that a jab?
About as much of a jab as these bolt wounds in my chest. Yeah.
And you see he kind of settles down onto his bedroll and he says, "Good to know. You're staying humble about it."
Well, I mean, Requiem saved us, but by extension, I saved us. So.
Tyr is just like flat-faced looking at you.
Oh fuck! Do I have to continue my watch?
Yeah.
Oh my
And
god.
Tyr goes to sleep.
All right, buddy. You're gonna stay a dog. And if
As
something
you wish.
tries to kill us, I want you to try to kill them.
You have my word.
I know. I know I do. I think she's going to spend most of the rest of her watch just glancing back at the fire every so often.
Okay. You are... Let me roll a thing.
Do I get the effects of a long rest after we start headed out, or is my long rest over and I'm just gimped today?
No, you'll still get a long rest.
Okay, good.
So long as you manage to sleep.
I'm the second watch.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
You have invoked the curse of a god's ire.
No, that's not what I was talking about.
Oh, okay. What were you talking about?
I was talking about you. I asked if I was going to get long rest effects, but I already took my rest.
When did you take your rest?
He did first watch, I did second.
Right. This occurred during your second watch.
Are we still doing 4 watches, but we're just off and on?
No, you're doing 2 watches, and then Requiem is watching for the rest of the night. Where you are going to try to sleep.
Okay. Yeah, alright. I have no arguments about the whole God ire thing. I totally spit in their face.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know what I did.
As your watch finishes, and Requiem sits, ever gazing, the guardian as always, I need you to roll me another wisdom saving throw.
Lorna doesn't need another person in her head, but here we go. Oh, pretty good.
With a 20,
I feel safe with him.
the pressure, the constant cold touch, the presence seems to lessen as you lay down and you try and get yourself cuddled up safe to go to sleep. Requiem makes a good guard dog.
Yeah, he
As he stands over you and over Tyr, looking out over the campfire and the region next to the road where you are camped out, he doesn't need to sleep. And in knowing that, maybe you take some solace in it. And even the hate and frustration and irritation that an evil goddess like Inosa could bring to bear doesn't seem so scary. And you manage to fall asleep.
Fuck. Stop rolling things.
I need you to tell me high or low.
Low.
The goddess Inosa decides not to torture you with a vision tonight.
Great.
You can click the long rest button.
Tonight, he said, very poignantly.
You fucked up.
Your face fucked up. Lorna
Did a dumb thing.
Yeah, she doesn't know any better. She's a baby.
Maybe she does now.
She does now. Well, she will after her first torture. Cool. Anyways,
All right. I pull you over to the map to cover your journey. And as you make your way on the second day of travel toward Ferrum, roll me a d8. As you make your way along the road, the travel is pleasant. You don't encounter anything uncouth. Maybe occasionally there are caravanners and other people walking near you, and you might even strike up casual conversation with them. It seems as though the talk on the road is about the new king, His Majesty Lord Demeric. Everyone is very much hopeful about this new ruler, and that they're going to take a really in a pleasant direction, one of prominence and profit, which is generally what it seems like Demerics are known for. That's at least what you hear. And as you and Tia are making your way along the road, you find yourself actually getting bored. There are no threats, the road is well traveled, and it is quiet. This day passes smoothly.
yeah.
Hold on. Is there something you intend to do during your camp?
Mm-mm.
Then the second day of travel and the second night passes by smoothly. As it does, the next morning, the third day of travel, I'd like you to roll me another d8.
Gotcha. 6.
Roll me a d100.
Great. 35.
One moment.
Do you want to pause so we can get food?
Oh, is it here?
Yeah. It's been
All
here.
right. Yeah, we'll pause for a sec. As you are making your way along the road, it is getting more and more forested, close on each side. It stays that way for a few hours as you're traveling. And as the suns climb, peak, and then begin to set and lower, you're getting into the afternoon. It becomes harder and harder to see farther down the road as the dense forest makes it almost a haze of green from the sun's beaming from overhead. I'd like you to roll me a perception check.
Finally, a good roll.
All right, I got a roll for Tier as well. You see it, and Tier doesn't right away. As you're making your way along the road, there's nobody else on the road with you at this point. It's quiet. The sounds of wildlife chirp and chitter and call all around you. As you're making your way, you suddenly see, crossing the road ahead of you, a massive elk, larger than anything you've ever seen. And winding through the towering antlers of the elk, you see traces of blue, as if magic is condensed within his antlers.
Uh-huh. So this isn't a regular animal. I'm
This
picking,
is
I
not
guess.
a regular elk. No.
Do I have any idea?
Roll me a history check.
Decent. Dirty 20.
You're not exactly sure. There's many mythos and legends about unusual creatures you'd find in the forest. However, what you don't expect as you're trying to place this elk is as it makes eye contact with you and with Thier, who has stopped next to you, and you hear him say, "Whoa! Whoa!"
I shush him.
You watch as the elk bows its head, lowering its antlers, not in a display of menace or threat, but almost a respectful greeting.
I would reciprocate on instinct before she even realizes what she's doing. She's like, okay, yeah, I've been trained for this.
Okay, you bow back. As it does, as you bow back, you feel almost the opposite of what you felt last night. You feel a warm, comfortable feeling. You feel pleased. You feel happy, almost as though these emotions are gently offered to you by a stranger.
Yeah, I'll take them.
And finally, you realize what you were trying to remember. You remember that the avatar of Magos often takes the form of a giant elk.
Magos is the god of, like,
Magic.
fuck, I gotta do something for this. That's Lorna's thing.
Yeah?
Yeah, but
What do you do?
I don't have.
As this elk is... You did hit long rest. As this
I
elk
know.
is 30 feet away from you, it has bowed its head in greeting, and as it stands tall and proud, you only have a moment before you're
I know, I
sure
don't
it's
have.
going to leave.
I don't have fucking anything that would suit this scenario. Hold on. Okay, well, fuck it. This is all I got. I only have really offensive spells.
What do you do?
I have a crystal in my pocket. It's in my just general inventory. And that's all she has to offer, so she's gonna use Mage Hand because that's magic she's able to cast because of the God of Magic. And she will pluck it out of her pocket, put it in her Mage Hand, and offer it to him. As a little token of thank you.
Do you say anything, or do you just do that?
She would say thank you. Magic means everything to me. Thank you.
The elk, tall, well taller than any elk has any right to be, looks down at the offering of the crystal, and you see it is plucked out of your mage hand, not by a hand. It just seems to float as if a hand took it, and it floats up in front of the elk's face, and then it dissolves in a rainbow iridescent powder that flashes up into the air, and it seems as though it absorbs into the antlers, where it coagulates there. It condenses itself within the antlers of this massive elk. And the elk looks at you, and in a very uncharacteristic sound, the elk opens its mouth, but you hear, "You are welcome." And the elk seems to walk off into the forest.
Wow.
Tier next to you says, "What the fuck was that?"
An avatar of a god.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I was kind of, I'm a little embarrassed how I look, and I didn't really have anything else to give him. It was only worth 10 gold pieces.
What was it?
What was what?
What did you give him?
This is a little embarrassing. It was my arcane focus.
Oh. Do you not have another?
Well, I can use something else. It's just I've been using that for my entire life, really.
Roll me a D100.
Okay. Yeah, that crystal was my arcane focus.
Oh.
It's the only thing I had that I felt like I could give him. 15.
A 15. Okay.
So it should mean something extra because it's what I cast my magic through.
It could. You don't know. You said a 15?
Yep.
All right. Noted.
Had a weird weekend with gods, apparently.
Yeah. You feel that same warmth is still with you. And as you kind of recollect yourself and gather your composure before moving on, it's hard not to just have this constant, I met an avatar today.
Yeah.
I gave it
I
my
sure
crystal,
did.
but yeah, it was cool. And
Wizards don't need a spellcasting focus, do they?
you either need to have the components,
Uh-huh.
or you need a focus.
Okay, shit. I need a new focus.
Yep.
Hold on. I'm just checking what I can't cast right now. Good, all my cantrips are good. Charm person, I can cast that. Detect magic I can cast. Just guys, pretty much, whew. I can't do Ice Knife is a drop of water or a piece of ice. I have water skin, I can do that. Identify uses a pearl. Okay, so I can't do that. Those are pretty much it. And Burning Blood uses my blood, so I've got an abundance of that for now.
Well, you do have some options, yeah, for things you can use as an arcane focus, or for things that you can use instead of an arcane focus for your components. But you will definitely need to acquire.
Yeah, I should probably get a new one, like a wand or fucking something. I don't know. I panicked. It was all I had.
That's hilarious. Okay. You've actually made a fairly significant offering as a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Noted.
It weren't just some crystal.
As you're making your way, and that was the encounter you rolled, that evening, as the suns are setting, I'd like you to roll me a perception check.
Okay. 21.
Night generally has a slightly blue hue to it. Shadows and darkness always seem to be tinged just a hint of blue, in addition to the black. Tonight, as you're looking around at the forest, as you and Tier have set up camp, You notice it looks more blue than normal. It looks really blue. Everything outside of the firelight looks on a scale of blue. But you also realize you can see much farther into the darkness than you could before. You also realize notice that the hue of blue everything seems to take on is the same vibrant, almost electric blue that was in the antlers of the elk.
Aw.
You have
That's
been
nice.
granted the blessing of Magos. In this flavor, you have dark vision out to 60 feet, in shades of blue.
I have dark vision up to 60 feet.
And then it's increased to 120 feet.
Hell yeah. I'll take it. Does Tier see what I see?
No, he does not. He has no idea you're seeing what you're seeing. So unless
Or they
you tell
should
him.
privately enjoy it to herself.
Okay. Yeah, you notice that you can see way farther into the forest than you could before. And it is a different shade. Before it was just in grayscale, but now it's in blue scale.
Ooh. Well, thanks, Magos. Hopefully I don't get jumped tonight.
Roll me a D100.
Okay. 91.
Hold on. As you are kind of nestled into this campsite with Tier, and Tier goes to sleep, and during your watch, you happen to be seated near the fire, near your bedroll, and at the end of your watch, you eventually start getting settled in, and as you kind of shift your bedroll to get ready, you see directly next to your bedroll, at the base of a fallen log that was used by whoever used this campsite before, you see there's a small leather bag.
Yoink.
Okay.
Look inside it.
There's not much in this bag. It smells of moisture and of nature, as if it's been out of doors for quite a while. Inside the bag, you see there is a set of keys and a vellum scroll.
Okay. Do the keys non-distinct?
They look like bronze. They look fairly simple, but one of them is a complex key with two sides to it and a split down the middle. Looks as though it's to a fairly significant lock.
Okay. How many keys total?
3.
And what's the scroll?
You open it up and look at it. It is a map.
Oh shit. Do I recognize the area?
Roll me a survival check.
Oh boy. Terrible. What's Tier up to?
He's asleep.
I'll ask when he's awake.
Okay. But short answer, no. You have no idea where this
I
is
have
a
no
map of.
fucking clue. Yeah. Especially if it's not. I grew up in Saris. I don't know this area.
Yeah.
I could ask Anscombe too. He grew up in this area. Unless it's not of this area, but I don't know. I'd be here then. Huh.
But you find that.
Yeah. Took that away.
Make a note
Treasure.
of it.
I did.
All right. The rest of your night passes without incident.
Ooh. Treasure map.
Treasure map. On the 4th day of travel, roll me a d8.
Yes, sir. 8.
Roll me a d100.
God damn. 26.
26. Okay. As you're making your way along the road, and the forest has opened up, you find it's rolling hills and plains in all directions, and then you find that you are walking alongside a small river. The river suddenly cuts to the left, up ahead, and you see there is a bridge. On that bridge, you see there are several individuals, and as you're approaching, the first one kind of steps forward, and you see it is a human man wearing fairly rusty but authentic looking armor, and he says, "Hello there.
Hello.
There's a toll across the Slithering River here."
Did they look official?
At a glance?
Just a couple of chodes?
At a glance, they look... well, why don't you roll me a history check?
15?
You are fairly well educated in sigils and house insignia. The one who has stopped you, the one in front, is wearing kind of rusty plate armor. It looks like it's just been outdoors a lot. It's been seeing heavy use. The sigil embedded into that armor is one of House Barlow, which is an Aurelian house. The other two are not wearing sigils or any insignia of any kind. They are wearing studded leather each. But they have a semblance of proper posture to them. So why don't you roll me an insight check?
Okay. 30-20. Don't shake me down.
You don't think these are official. You don't think they're sanctioned by any town or anything like that. But it looks as though they've had proper training at some point.
Mm-hmm. The one who spoke to us first. I guess I'm just feeling spicy. I'm gonna cast Charm Person.
All right. I'll roll
Wisdom
a wisdom
15.
save. He rolled an 8.
So she would, seeing her spell take effect, she'd be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. We actually came through here already. If you remember us, maybe you don't. I don't know. I don't have a very memorable face, but we paid already."
Roll a persuasion. No, roll me a deception check at advantage.
Pretty good.
The leader,
25.
the one you're speaking to, says, "Oh, right. Yeah, of course. I don't know how we missed you. Or rather, I don't know how I don't remember. Yeah, come on then." And he looks back at the other two, and they're like... And the one on the left
Thank
says,
you so much.
"Hey,
I
what
really
are you
appreciate
doing?"
this. No, see, no, we're all good. Me and him, we're tight.
And the other one says, "Luther, is that true? You're all good with this?" And the leader says, "Yeah, it's fine. Go on through." And he, like, has put his sword away. It's like he seems at ease. I'm going to roll insight checks for the other two. That's a 5 for one, and a 3 for the other. Okay. You successfully navigate the toll.
When we pass the toll, I'm just gonna blow a kiss to the other two.
I said, "What? Luther?" And Luther says, "She's fine. She's always like that. Look, eyes front. We're going to have more coming." And they resume their posts, but you see the other two are very confused, but they don't seem smart enough to put together what has happened. Well done.
And she's gonna look at you and be like, "I told you I'm an excellent liar."
Tier's looking at you like, "Yeah,
Magic helps.
it certainly does, doesn't it?"
Oh, did you want to pay them?
"No. Wouldn't have mind teaching them a lesson."
Oh, they'll know in about an hour. We should go.
"Right. What makes... Okay. We don't even know how much the toll was. It's so important. And he's following you.
It's like 5 copper.
Okay, you keep moving. Go ahead and roll... No, that was your encounter for the day. The 4th day of travel passes by without any further incident. As you take watch... we will move on to the next day of travel, day 5. You are nearing the end of the journey. There's only a couple more days of your travel. And as you do, I need you to roll me a d8.
3.
The 5th day of travel goes by quietly and quickly.
Yes. It's about fucking time.
Yep. You've been rolling a lot of encounters.
Yes.
Excuse me. As you make your way past all sorts of hills and more river and more forest and farmland, and we move on to the 6th day of travel. Go ahead and roll me a d8.
8.
Roll me a d100.
I will burn this house to the ground.
I don't recommend that.
Okay. 93.
Reroll. That doesn't work.
Okay. 19. 2 ends of the spectrum.
Okay. As you are walking, you suddenly see the road ahead of you. Actually, roll me perception. You need to make sure you actually see this.
Okay. Only a lot of 14s for perception.
Both of you see, ahead of you, the road is littered with bear traps. Someone has set up a countless amount of bear traps on the road ahead of you.
Uh-huh. Okay.
That's it. Tier is looking
Does it
ahead
look like
of you.
it'll be...
It's navigable, but it's going to be a little difficult. There are spots that it's going to be tricky.
hold on. I'm going to use my mage hand and trigger them all.
Okay, so you're going to be here for quite a while.
Well, it's just as we walk. If there's one in the way, I trigger it.
What's the pressure that a mage hand can lift?
It's like 10 pounds? Hold on. 10 pounds.
Okay. I will say mage hand will give you advantage. Yeah, mage hand will give you advantage on a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. Okay.
There's just...
Tell me.
There's so many.
Yeah, tell me when I need to make one.
Now.
Fucking dicks, man. Okay, good. I have a +0, so this is gonna be interesting. Lorna doesn't need this right now.
As you make your way through the bear traps, it's not difficult passage at first. And any ones that look like it's actually blocking your way, you use Mage Hand to snap shut, and then you can easily step over it without worry. But as you're making your way, the bear traps begin to be hidden beneath leaves, or dirt is pushed up over some of them, and it becomes harder and harder to be entirely sure about where you are placing your feet. With a dexterity save of 17, you manage to get all the way through this bear trap infested road without any harm.
What psychopath? Like, he's out.
You don't know.
Okay.
Tier doesn't know either, as he is swearing. He is right behind you. He also was successful, but he's annoyed about it.
Yeah.
Do you know how much money a bear trap is? This is like... Each one's like 3 silver. Someone's got a fortune spread out on the road here.
And someone has a lot of money and a lot of time and a weird fixation on their hands.
They really hate bears.
I guess suppose so. Or just the unwitting traveler. Uh,
This is not. I mean, this is obvious as hell. We saw this coming from. And Tier just stops complaining about it as you make your way past it. That is what you rolled, as bizarre as it was.
Great.
Okay. I'm gonna roll another thing. You complete the 6th day of travel with no further incident. And on the 7th day, I need you to roll me another d8.
Am I right in that after this, it'll only be a week until the master comes?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. 8. Swear to God, Echo.
Roll me a d100.
God fucking damn it. 18. Just one
18.
below.
Okay. Oh. You've been traveling for about 6 hours. At this point, you're fairly close to City, to Ferrum. And as you are walking, you realize you hear the footsteps of someone walking near you. When you glance over, you see there is a halfling man who's walking not next to you. He's maybe about 20 feet away. But he is buck-ass naked.
Uh-huh. How long has he been there? He just
You're not
walked out
sure.
of the woods. Tier,
Aye?
is this normal?
We're close to Ferrum, so kind of.
Okay. I'm gonna look down at Snake William
Mm-hmm.
and just urge him. Just keep a close eye on my coin pouch, please. I don't trust weird naked men.
There is a long pause. Where would he put it?
That's what I'm worried about, buddy.
I will watch.
And we just keep going. I'm not gonna question this man because he's probably on crack.
Okay. You ignore the naked halfling, and you make your way to Ferrum.
Yes, I do.
Okay, that's what you rolled. As you arrive in Ferrum, you pass through the gates where the guards stop the naked halfling. And as you just kind of make your way past that, dismissing it, you basically hear the guards say, "Now what's all this about?" And just, there is a conversation. As you have arrived home sweet home, what do you do?
Go back to the Marigard Academy. I have a list of things I want to do.
Okay. Tier looks at you heading straight there and he says, "I'm going to go get a drink, so
Yeah.
I'll catch you later."
Yeah, well, I do like you, and we are friends. This was a lot. I think we both need like a minute.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say all that, but I thought that was understood.
I am a social train wreck. I'm gonna go back to the Marigard. I've got a couple things I need to look into. I'll see you around. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
You certainly will. And he goes straight to the Merry-Guard.
Yep.
Okay.
Lorna looking like she's aged 10 years. Is gonna go back to the Marigard.
Okay. You arrive at the Merry-Guard. Do not need any encounter rolls. This is a short stretch up the road. You arrive at the castle. It is evening.
Okay. Dinner time?
Just before. It's about 5 in the evening.
She's looking for Sagona.
Okay, so you go to the cleric's classroom.
I mean, even better if they're still in class.
I'll roll for it. As you look in the cleric's classroom, you see the instructor retreat is toward the front of the classroom at a desk. Nobody else is in here.
Okay,
He,
that works too.
he looks up at you as you enter and he says, "Morning, or rather, evening. How can I help you?"
Hello, sir. Sir, he's a man.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Hello, sir. I'm a friend of Sigona's
Oh,
and a student here, of course.
I figured.
And she has kind of warned. What she's told me has made me think that I might need your help, or at least your advice.
Okay. And he closes the book that he had open and he kind of pushes it to the side and he says, I'm very intrigued. And you are?
My name is Lorna Halueth. I've been a student here for a couple of weeks now.
It's a pleasure to meet you. Now, what seems to be the problem?
So, as a cleric, Sigona's made me believe that they're wary of curses, demons, devils, ghosts, that kind of thing.
Yes. In a manner of speaking.
I would like to hear what your thoughts are on devil contracts.
To be avoided, in most cases.
So, if someone were to unwittingly be involved with one, is there a way out of that?
Well, unfortunately, a devil's contract is uniquely binding. In most cases. Now, the trick with devil contracts is they start simple and they escalate. They offer more, but they take more. So while a devil may be willing to give you a small amount of gold for a simple task, their contract will offer amendments or clauses where when you require more power or more whatever from them, they take more from you, usually in the form of your soul, which generally means you're condemned to their service for all eternity. Now, if you find yourself in one by accident, that's usually a problem.
Yeah.
There are a few ways you can try to offer the devil something more than yourself. You can use a wish spell, but that has been known to backfire in the past. The best course of action is to negotiate your way out of the deal. Offer them something for your freedom. Something they truly want, which is usually souls, but not always.
So, my friend, she's gonna smile just awkwardly at him.
He raises an eyebrow.
Yeah. I'm going to assume it feels like this contract started with something quite large. It's not like I want a pile of gold for a simple task. Unless they've managed to run through the amendments without knowing that they have. But I have no way of helping my friend because she doesn't have the contract.
Well, that's not such a good thing now, is it?
No, and the devil wouldn't give her a copy for some reason.
It's likely there's something in the contract the devil doesn't want your friend to read.
So how is she supposed to negotiate when she doesn't know any of the terms besides the one that the devil has presented?
She might find something the devil wants more. Or she might find another outside force to force the devil to sever the contract.
That would be some force, wouldn't it?
She could always attempt to slay the devil. It's never easy.
If so, say the devil wanted the quote for the contract was like 400 souls.
Oh.
What would be worth more than that?
Um, well, I'm not a devil. I don't know exactly what this devil would want. Um, Perhaps your friend might be invested in learning what this devil would find important to it.
What? Wait a minute. Do you know about major devils? Like their names, their portfolios?
I know some of them. I know some of the more reputable ones. Ones that have made deals with us here at the Mirror.
Devils make deals with the Bearguard?
Of course they do.
Wow. How? Why?
Some of them are indebted to us due to our services in the past. So,
So they're the ones dead. That's funny.
it goes both ways. Devils need things too, and they are at a constant war with the demons. As such, they hire us sometimes.
How do you feel about that? As a cleric,
Doesn't.
you don't
Well,
care?
I mean, devils are unsightly fiends, obviously. Most of the time they are evil and they're always looking for the best way to get their own self-interest, but they follow a code, which I can respect that. They follow law. They follow their own creed, which is... it's at least something you can count on.
So I'm assuming you're not the one handling the devils indebted or at service to the Marigard.
No, that would be Lise, the warlock instructor.
I've heard of her. I don't think I've ever spoken to her before.
She's polite enough. She might have more answers for you as to the specifics of what devils we know of and commune with.
Would she be able to help me reason? Help my friend reason?
That's not really how devil contracts work, from what I understand. She might be able to find you, or your friend, an alternate solution.
Okay, that's something. Talk to Elise. Okay, I can do that. But before I ask her, I might as well ask you. Do you know the devil that runs the Arcanium?
Hushen.
Yeah.
Yes. We've had dealings with him before.
Could you tell me what you know about him?
He's one of... well, Hushen is known to be an avatar of one of the many princes of knowledge. It is through his contracts and, well, connections throughout the world that the Arcanium Library is as massive as it is.
Yeah, it's super useful. I was surprised to see it was run by a devil.
Well, who else would it be run by?
Magos?
I'm afraid a worldly library is a little bit underneath the goddess of the god of magic and knowledge.
Okay. So can you? Sorry, is an avatar like? Is it like a proxy? Is it them but not them?
So
Does it have its own personality?
a devil cannot actually occupy any space in the prime material plane for any real length of time. The less powerful the devil, the longer they can be here. However, a devil such as Hushen, they can only exist here as an avatar, as a magical construct that they can occupy and do. It's similar to how the Archfey would do it.
So it's not like they're a different person, but it's just kind of like a lesser skin that they can put on.
Yes.
Okay. Ah,
Has your friend... am I reading the context correctly here in saying that your friend owes 400 souls to Hushen?
yeah, she's really stupid.
Or she needed something very powerful?
I don't know how it happened.
Well, Hushen is in a unique situation, as he is close in contact with mortals every day, although he does not try to corrupt mortals that visit the Arcanium. He knows that knowledge is power. Power, it corrupts. And so, anyone seeking knowledge goes to him he knows will be corrupted eventually, which is the goal of any devil. To corrupt mortals and take their souls for their own.
Kind of like seduction, but with books, for people who find books sexy.
Yes. The allure of power is one that we, as mortals, can't really resist.
No, apparently not.
I recommend you speak to Elise when you can. She might have better information for you. I deal with fiends primarily as a adversary.
I wouldn't say that my friend and this fiend are on great terms.
If they're in a contract, they are on terms.
Sure.
Sorry I couldn't be more help.
No, you were very helpful. I've learned quite a bit. Can I count on some discretion?
I'm a cleric, not a... Yes.
Thanks.
Neil be with you.
And also with you?
Oh, he is.
Where's the warlock classroom?
If you take a left out of my door, go down 4 doors, it'll be on your right.
She does that. She gives him a nice little bow curtsy and then goes.
Okay. He returns to his work.
With a bigger headache than before.
As you enter the warlock classroom, you see Elise, who is a dark elf, wearing long, black, very sensually tight clothes, but they cover every inch of her. She's seated on what looks like a piano bench, and seated in a lounge chair next to her is a woman who has every marker of a corpse without actually being one. She has long black hair and gray skin, but they are having a conversation, and as you enter, Elise, the dark elf, looks at you and says, "Oh, hello. May I be of service to you?"
You absolutely could be. Am I right in guessing that you're Elise?
That is correct. Dog, why don't you return to studies for now, and I will talk to you later. And the ghoulish corpse of a woman stands up and smiles to you, and she says, "Best of luck to you." And she walks right by you.
Thank you.
Elise, who's still seated on the piano bench, gestures to the open chair, and she says, "How can I help you?"
I've heard that you're the one who's particularly responsible for relations with devils.
That is true. May I ask why you ask?
Well, first, my name is Lorna, and I'm a student here.
It is a pleasure to meet you, Lorna.
So, I was facetious with treat. I found myself in like a devil's contract, and I don't really know what to do about it.
I see. Do you know...
And you might know, you might know this person. It's Hushen?
You see that she looks startled, and she says,
Is that not common?
I wasn't aware Hushen did contracts. Interesting.
But have you worked with him before in some capacity?
Yes, I have. He
But
often supplies...
Not on a contract.
No. He is not typically one of the archdevils that we use for warlock patrons. he is a unique entity, one that, well, to put it blatantly, corrupts souls with knowledge. May I ask how you managed to convince Hushen to sign a contract with you?
The thing about that, Elise, is I don't.
Ah.
So it's like it's a really long story. I'm gonna simplify it. My soul it's been on this plane a couple times now, and this contract with Hushen happened a few renditions back, and was never fulfilled by the signer of the contract. See, and he found me and he said, "I've come to collect." And I said, "Who are you?" So you can see the trouble, right?
Do you happen to have your copy of the contract?
No, because I didn't know it existed until he told me I owed him 400 souls.
Ah.
And he wouldn't give it to me, and I said, "Please, can I have this so I know what's between us?" And he said, "Haha, no, this is funny." And I just failed to see the humor.
No, you would not see it on this end, would you? That does make perfect sense. Hushen is unique. Particularly in that if you manage to get a contract out of him, you must have promised him quite a thing. And 400
I don't know.
souls...
Well, actually, I do know what it is because he told me, but I don't remember what I did with it or where it is. So it's probably just out there somewhere.
Well, there are a few things you could do. I imagine, since you are here and not apprehended by Hushen, he let you go.
Yeah, he said he'd. Obviously, I'm completely worthless right now. I've been in the Maricard for a couple weeks, and he wants 400 souls from me, and I don't want to do that, but two, I couldn't, even if I wanted to.
No, generally the mass sacrifice of souls to an individual devil is something we frown upon here at the Marigard. The costs for drastically evil contracts, they scale up very quickly. I will say this. You have a reprieve. You have time to sort out exactly what it is that you can do and are going to do about this. Now, you signed a contract, whether it was you or a previous rendition of yourself. You signed a contract with the devil, and they are binding. That does not mean that you are without options.
Right. What are my options?
Well, the first is to provide Hushen with 400 souls. Obviously, that is not the best option, but it is the option that satisfies him, and it saves you any injury or any farther, well, threat of violence.
Mm-hmm.
Second option. Do you know how devilish society functions?
I know they kind of operate on a hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
So, what we can do, as here at the Marigard, we do have powerful connections in all planes of existence, including the 9 Hells. We might be able to, once you have become a full contractor, arrange a meeting with you and those above Hushen in the hierarchy. We might be able to arrange a conversation where you can get yourself out of such a sticky contract due to the simple clause that Hushen is not being forthcoming with your copy of the contract.
I was going to ask you who upholds these.
That would be Asmodeus.
Isn't he like the Mega Devil?
Mm-hmm. He's the one who runs the whole shebang. It is he who manifests how the hierarchy works, he who manages the code of law that all devils must follow, he who generally invokes the punishments for those who fail.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just say, the 9th layer of hell is none any of us want to visit. Which is not one where you would visit. If you were to speak with a hierarch, you'd be traveling to, I believe, the 4th layer of hell, where they keep their administrative services, along with the suffering.
At the very least, I know I don't have a time frame to complete this, because this contract was apparently drafted up 275 years ago.
Sure. I don't quite understand the math. What I will say is, if you have the chance, if Hushen does begin to apply pressure, before you are in a situation where you can handle this contract reasonably, it may be in your best interest to begin recruiting other powerful arcane minds. What you may be able to do is to invoke the sort of reality-bending spells that can undo your signing of this contract.
Wish spell.
No, that would not be enough.
A wish wouldn't be enough.
No, you would need to bend what actually happened. You would have to cast a 10th level spell.
I didn't even know that was possible.
Stick with us, and you'll see many things are possible. Now, that being said, it's going to require lots of time, lots of money, and lots of effort. Should you manage to cast a 10th level spell that would alter what happened with you creating that contract, you'd better cast it right, or it could change everything about who you are.
If I could cast a spell like that, I feel like there's better things I could be doing to change that.
No one wizard can cast a 10th level spell.
You need multiple wizards.
Yes.
Right, that's why you said powerful arcane connection. This feels like a lot.
Mm-hmm. We are talking on the scale here of way above your pay grade. We are talking about adventurers who have been saving the world countless times for hundreds of years. And you, who I surmise maybe 18 years of age?
Yeah, that's about right.
You've come into my classroom owing a devil, one of the most powerful devils before the actual arch, 400 souls. So, you are batting above your pay grade, and so we will be answering these problems above your pay grade.
But before we get too far out of the scope of my ability to...
Oh, this is already out of your ability.
Out of my ability to comprehend. I'm humble enough to acknowledge this. At minimum, if he could just give me a copy of the contract, I could at least start understanding.
Well, that was option 2, if you recall.
Right.
Should you become a contractor with the Mirror Guard, pass your exams, be a full-on fledged mercenary that works for us, it becomes highly in our vested interest to make sure you do not have any extremely lethal ties. And so we would investigate this contract. We would contact the Archdevil Azar Uriel, have him take a look at this. Azar Uriel. He's the Archdevil of Information. Prince of the 5th Hell. He is a close contact.
He's a close...
He's just a prince. He's not an archdevil.
Hushen is just a prince.
Correct. Azar
But they're in the same kind of, like...
They're
like the same department.
Yes. Where Hushen gathers knowledge and merits it out to worthy mortals, Azar Uriel collects knowledge from the eyes of all who live, all who he has a finger on. And that is many. The sort of knowledge that you can't record in a book.
You can record any knowledge.
I am sorry, dear Lorna, that is not the case.
Books are all I know.
I know.
So you're saying that I couldn't just ask you to help me call up Hushen and maybe negotiate a little bit further.
I have no sway with Hushen.
But you're very pretty.
I am. Thank you for noticing. My sway comes through the hands of Azar Uriel, who owes the Merigard a great debt. We are the ones who gave him his seat of power.
Yeah, that does sound like a big debt.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like Hushen's boss.
Yes.
But you won't do this for me until I'm a contractor.
Correct. You are just a student. And unfortunately...
But I'm very pretty.
You certainly are. You're very attractive. And I can flatter you with compliments all day, but we wouldn't actually solve anything, would we?
Yeah, sure, but I needed that. I just needed that little bit.
You are ravishing.
Stop. She's gonna wave her hand.
Once you become a Merigard contractor, we will begin the process of contacting Azar Uriel with the means of getting more information out of Hushen's stubborn little paws.
Yeah.
Once we have your contract and we can see the wording, maybe we can find a loophole.
Or that thing he doesn't want me to see.
Correct.
Whatever it is.
As a devil, they are not permitted to alter a contract once it is signed. And so, perhaps Hushen has discovered the loophole and wishes that you do not. Or maybe he genuinely just thinks it's funny. It's impossible to know. And by law, he is not bound to show you the contract if he doesn't want to. He does not have to. You were provided a copy. Or at least your previous self
years
was.
ago. Yeah, exactly. It's probably dust, ash.
No, it isn't. However, 275 years to a devil is a blink.
I think I just thought of something. Have you ever been to an Arcanium?
Several times.
Have you ever gotten anything from the special returns?
No.
Do you know what that is?
No, as I wasn't aware you could take anything out of the Arcanium.
It's different. Maybe it's a joke that it's called that, but I asked Pushen for something that one of my renditions authored, and he pulled it from the special returns. And I had permission to see it because I wrote it. Right?
I don't know.
Right. Well, that was more for me. It was so I could, I guess, if Hushen is true to his word, I asked for the contract, my contract, which I signed, it might come out of the special returns because I would have consent from myself.
It might. It might also not be, as you did just sign it if you didn't write it yourself.
I didn't write it. I don't really know how it works.
You might have written it yourself.
I don't know if Hushen would just be like, no, because he would be the one who had to pull it from the special returns.
That's not really how devils work. Once they've given their word on something, they will go through with it. Devils are bound by law that they do not tell a lie. They can omit the truth. They can deceive you in any other way, but they don't lie. Not intentionally.
Okay, so that is potentially an option, but I would need to go back to an Arcanium, which is, I think the closest one is in Augur City, isn't it?
Yes. They are in each capital city, with the exception of Taka, the holy city. There is not one in Unahi, the city of scales, unfortunately, as Rayla the Lasting disapproves of them. Because they're run by devils.
Yes, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I didn't know it was run by a devil until I met him.
It is not a common thing to know. Most just see the Arcanium Cooperative as an entirely benevolent company that provides service to any who ask for it and offer the teleportation services to those who earn it.
Right. Do you know what a sacrarium is?
I'm going to roll. I'm afraid I haven't heard the word before.
Okay, that might be a question for Tabernac then.
It does sound like an awfully magic-y word.
It does. I have a vague notion. I just thought maybe you would know, but apparently it's. I mean, Kushan doesn't even really deal in contracts, so this is already well out of left field.
It is exceptionally rare that Hushen would choose one mortal to perform a contract with. And so either in your previous life you impressed him, or you had him by the balls, as they say.
All I know is that I was apparently some hot shit back then, but I'm obviously not now.
Well, if you had Hushen at a moment of your advantage, you must have been.
Well, he probably really liked seeing me scared and nervous. That fucker.
That does apply a lot of context. Yes, I imagine you did have him at disadvantage, and so him seeing you in a position of weakness was likely quite enjoyable for him.
What an asshole! I'm a kid!
You're at least 275 years old?
He said somewhere around like 800, 700, something like that. I don't.
Huh. You see that Elise has leaned forward and is looking at you, and she says, "That's interesting."
There's no knowledge. I have no memories. So.
Would you mind if I did some asking around?
What do you mean? Just.
Maybe having some conversation with my contacts about one Lorna Halloweth?
That wouldn't get you much.
What would?
Well, I have a couple. I'd actually really like to know who the original was. I only have, up until about 250 years ago, I only have 3 names.
This has been the most unusual conversation. Do you know how old I am? Take a guess.
32.
I am 633 years old.
You look great.
If you are older than me, I will find myself extremely jealous.
There's really nothing to be jealous about. Apparently, I'm just severely in debt.
Well, should you become a Marigod contractor, it will be our vested interest to help you with that debt.
Right.
As part of the amnesty clause.
If you think that you're asking around wouldn't pull people in my direction?
I am the warlock instructor, Elise. You know me, maybe. You might have seen my picture. Maybe trust that I know how to be discreet.
I'm just very cautious.
I understand.
What name do you think would be the most useful to you? My most recent or the oldest one I know?
I'd imagine the oldest one you know.
That one has a little bit of history. Her name was Nalina Talahand, and she was the second hand to the puppet master during the War of the Dead.
What a dark history. All right.
See, that's why I'm trying to forget who I was, and I'm trying to start new and nice, which is why harvesting 400 souls is not really in my vested interest.
It does put some context to that scale, however.
Yeah.
Because for you, well, that would be a travesty. For a war criminal, that is merely a statistic.
You're right, but Hushen said that the contract was signed 275 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And my knowledge tells me that Nalina was only accepted into the wizarding circle of Ceres 250 years ago.
Huh. So it
I
happened
think
before.
It must have been before her.
All right. Why don't you go have a conversation with Tabernac about what a sacrarium is?
Which is apparently what the 400 souls was for. I don't know what it does either.
That is odd. And something I imagine I would have heard. Okay. I'm going to have some conversations with some people that I don't think you'd like to meet. You see yourself out, and don't get yourself into any more trouble.
I don't think it can get worse.
I will say, if this goes too much deeper, there's only so much I'm permitted to do for a student.
Yeah, I understand.
I will ask. I will find some answers. Be sure you want to know what I learn.
I do. I want nothing more than to understand.
Well, I can't make any promises.
Okay.
All right. Lorna,
At least.
it's been a pleasure. And extremely illuminating.
Uh-huh.
You are gorgeous, by the way.
Thanks, it's not mine.
It is.
It's just a very nice dress.
Just take the compliment.
Thank you, Elise.
Off you go. And she stands and holds out a hand to the door.
Lorna leaves thinking, holy fuck, I've been stupid honest today. Is this gonna be okay?
As you say that to yourself, heading toward the Wizarding Tower, that is where we're going to stop today's session.
Fuck!
Thank you all for listening. We will see you all in the next session of From Nothing, Lorna's Story.
If I make it.